Hi guys! Today we're going to do a really short lesson, and it is going to be about something called end nouns. And end nouns are probably going to be a little bit annoying for you guys, only because it's much like memorizing genders or memorizing your plural forms. They do not have a true marker that is going to tip you off that you're working with an end noun. Now, end nouns are nouns that will take an extra N or en ending in all forms except nominative. Another really neat thing about end nouns is that they're all masculine. So, we do not have any end nouns that are not masculine. I'm going to give you an example of one. So one example is der Student. So if I had a sentence like der Student kommt aus München, nothing would change. Of course, I'd capitalize that because this is your nominative case. So it's the subject here. So I wouldn't do anything to change it. But I know it's an end noun. So that means in all other forms, so anytime I'm using it in any other case, I have to add an en to this noun. So I'm going to say, ich kenne den Studenten. Sehr gut. So I know the student very well. So this looks exactly like the plural form, but I made it den, and that's because of the end noun status. So it gets that extra en. Ich schenke, dem Studenten eine Kette. I'm gifting the student a necklace. So again, we've got that extra en. And last but not least, der Hund des Studenten, there's my genitive form, ist lieb. So the dog of the student is friendly. Okay, so in all forms except that nominative singular form, I have an extra en, and of course that also matches my plural form. So the plural of Student is die Studenten. Now you're probably thinking, okay, well, how do I know what male or masculine nouns fall under this group? You will not know this automatically. There's absolutely no way. It's going to take some practice and it's going to take some memorization. However, most dictionaries, if you end up using one, most dictionaries will give you a word. So let's say der Mann is your word. And then they're typically going to follow that word with your genitive ending and then with your plural ending. So in this case, we have genitive des Mannes and plural die Männer, if you're reading that correct. Now, if this genitive ending shows you an en, that means it is an end noun. Okay, so as far as dictionaries, that is the way to identify them. The book, intentionally really to make sure that you guys don't get confused, completely omitted these endings and omitted that marking up until this chapter. So whenever you were looking at vocab, you never saw those endings. They're now going to add them in for you. And again, we also use the word student regularly without that extra ending. Occasionally it came in because I accidentally added it, but most of the time I omitted it to make sure that you don't get confused. Don't worry too much about that. Sometimes terms will mess it up too, but we're going to practice with a couple of them. So first of all, let me give you guys the list of end nouns that you're responsible for. So these are 14 end nouns on this page. Add in the word student, so der Student, and that makes 15. Those 15 end nouns should be in your notes. and you should know. As in, you should know that they are end nouns. Again, notice, for every single one of these, it has that extra genitive ending listed. All of them are masculine, and what I haven't even mentioned yet is all of the plural forms show you ends as well. So if you've been studying your plurals, it's only ones that actually show a plural form. Okay, we're going to do a really, really quick practice of that. You have the list at the top of these different words. We have not gone through them in English just yet. This is page 283 of your workbooks. I want you guys to go through and finish these 10 activities, filling in these blanks. Now, there's more than 10 blanks. Just because there's 10 activities doesn't mean it's 10 blanks or 10 questions. So, really quickly, we've got der Junge. Please repeat. Der Junge. Der Pilot. Der Kollege. Der Assistent. Der Tourist. Der Nachbar. Der Athlet, der Student, der Mensch, der Patient, der Präsident, and der Kunde. Make sure this page is done before you leave. You're adding N or EN for each of these, and you have to differentiate between the first or the second little blank in the marking. Okay, when you finish, what I want you to do is grab one of the textbooks from the back shelf and flip to page 314. 314 is the next section of the chapter, the next grammar section, if you will. And we're going to start talking about reflexive verbs in the next lesson. Because reflexive verbs seem a little bit strange, I want you guys to read page 314 first. It's an English explanation of what that whole reflexive thing is about. I want you to have read it for tomorrow, so that tomorrow when I introduce it, you're at least going to be somewhat familiar with what I'm talking about. Thank you.